want to welcome everyone to the next edition of Channel for the Soul. It's September 6, 2020, and I want to have this be an honest assessment for those souls who are looking to do more work for their own hearts. How many people really do want to do more work on their own hearts versus those who are interested in hearing from other souls about their experiences within this plane of existence? That's one of those beautiful expressions we were laughing at, right? How many people know that in essence, the guidance for the soul is more in alignment with who I am at this moment, but I can bring through those visions of loved ones. And in essence, as I go through the process of a light worker, this was one of my visions for myself as a child. And I want to be honoring of that vision for many who are here who say, I know I can do better. I know I can do better. That's a vision that many of us have for ourselves and for our loved ones, right? Did I do the best job ever last week? I don't look back anymore. And I say it's about moving forward, full steam ahead, right? The train is on the line, so we're going to talk about the nature of a train. I was on a train with my family and friends going 1,000 miles an hour, right? That's the vision. These high-speed trains are coming into the station in California, and we're going to talk about the nature of many who say they're a waste of money. When I take a plane to the crash site of a train, right? Do we go down that vision of foresight? How many people are planting the vision of train crashes? Okay. I'm not going to say when or where. I've just told you something strong. This is not about the nature of the safety of the train, is it? Most people realize those trains are incredibly difficult to keep under control if people keep that vision in their mind of tragedy. So let's not go down that path. This could be, it could be triage energy. This is what we call the triage energy. And I want to show you guys what can happen when you're not as focused in your visions of love. Most of us are in that vision of let's go for the gold. That's what people are saying. Good God, where are we going with this? Right? Do we believe in the force of nature that is coming down our path? Right? These fires in California, when do they stop? Now, had I been in a different mindset, I would have said this is the nature of creation in which we are creating these fires all around the world, in essence, because of the nature of the droughts, correct? The global warming. This has been part of the system of government in this state. Others are saying it's the governor's fault for not, clearing out the whole entire state of California of sagebrush? Come on, people. This is not the governor's fault. What we have is a defendant on the line, right? Someone's going to say, oh, this is Brenda. This is her vision. She had no idea what was coming through. But this is the nature where others are going to go now that we have all these fires. We prevent that by burning a lot of forests. We know that some forests need fire, such as the redwoods, in order to drop those, valuable seedlings. But in essence, what do we do in this vision where I'm being surrounded on one side by fire and on the other side it's by guides? I'm not going to say that the high-speed train is going to crash, but what I will say is, had one been built before now, it most likely would have been damaged. And I mean because there are so many people in our vision who are so against the nature of a high-speed train because in essence, most haven't even been on one in Japan or in China. If you get on those trains, you start to see the beauty of those souls. I can lift my heart up and say, wow, did I do a good job or what? How many people are going to say, that doesn't make sense. Why is she bringing that through now? It's going to be one of those topics of California very soon. Now, when we say very soon, it's the pandemic, right? Okay, how many people know that in essence, I could stand up, put on a craft energy. Literally, I could start crafting a vision of hope for the majority of the people here in the state of California. Because in essence, my home was to be denied the vision of fire and train wreck. I'm not near any trains. The majority of the people are not in the near future with a train. So what does that say? That's been put on hold. But had we been involved in that vision of a train, there would have most likely been some kind of problem with it. That was one scenario that we had to bring out for Brenda because she was hearing about the high-speed trains. They are not all that safe in some places. It depends on where you're going with that. How many people don't want there to be a high-speed train in the States? Because we really don't have many here. Yet we have many who do a lot of traveling out of the country, correct? Have you ever ridden, excuse the grammar, have you ever ridden on a high-speed train? I have never even rode on what's the word now in the grammar. I'm going to be teaching grammar, and my grammar is starting to come through. So let me go a little deeper on that vision. There is a grand entrance trying to make its way through about the vision of the future. Fast forward 10 years, we will be on that train. That's how fast the train gets built in California. We're done with the idea of having to go up in the sky and box ourselves in a little box that takes hours and hours to get one place or another, right? The train is faster and it is actually more efficient in some ways. I don't have the same safety issues as I do up in an airplane, right? Those are for those people that might, be a little bit afraid to fly. I'm not afraid to fly. Let's talk about the channeling for the souls of others. Now, the reason why this was brought through is because some people are in that mode of, I want to know more about my future. So had I said there's a train wreck coming, would we have taken it as necessary to warn people about it? That's where people need to start to think about Brenda a little bit harder. Because in essence, had she been able to stop some of those events from happening that she foretold in her mind, it would have been like suicide from the majority of those people who support the vision of weaponry. Okay, how many gun owners of violent weapons, right? It's not of weapons. She literally had people who were thinking about those shootings coming into her consciousness. And you would have heard those visions of hell that she had to deal with, right? She wasn't sure what was happening. We were giving her those visions of their mindsets. She had no idea if she was hearing her own soul or someone else's. So now you understand the beauty of actually bringing in your own soul first before you do any outside work. And you say, I don't have to deal with their energy. I had to deal with the vision of a guide who would give me that energy from somebody else. Can you imagine feeling the destructive nature of souls? How many people feel they belong in heaven? How many feel like they belong in hell? And I want you to think very carefully about this vision. It's not about planting the seed of light for many. This is about becoming more resilient in your visions of life. Okay, I had to do work that others don't. want to go through. Okay. Can you imagine hearing the visions of killers? Or of destructive natures of, disasters? It's not easy to deal with that vision of it. I may have blown the cover off of someone's destiny by doing that work. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon as a guide. But it's not about being anti-gun. It's about those bigger weapons, just to lay it out on the line. Okay? Because in essence, if, as I said in several posts and on several videos, had you been the ones hearing those visions about those weapons, you might want to think again. I don't have any visions of suicide, but I know someone who did. And I know someone who was very much into those weapons of mass caliber rifles. Do you want to know what the vision is? After we pass, do we still hold on to those visions of, I'm proud to be who I was? That's the majority of people. They say, I'm proud of that vision that I created. This is the nitty-gritty of creation and the afterlife. Okay, we call it the afterlife, but it's just a different form of who we are. We continue our vision in those other realms of love. Okay, so it's not about denying the beauty of the afterlife or our visions when we're here. Do we have those visions of, I could have done better? That's their vision. I could have done better. I could have made things easier for many people in my life had I stuck around. Okay. But in essence, what does it say for us when they say, I'm in a great place? I literally look heavenly in my mind. That's the vision that many see for her. So in essence, they see that beauty of, I get it. You might not want to support the weaponry if you yourself had to hear the victims and their expressions of when they had to feel those bullets going in their bodies. And we're not talking about anyone that we know in this moment. We're talking about the nature of the mass caliber rifles, and we're talking about those bigger weapons that are often used in those very violent episodes across the nation. It is starting to die down for the most part, that vision. What do we have now? The anger of race, right? This is not a societal impact vision, but it's about letting people know that their loved ones are indeed in that vision of heaven still, and they still have the creative impulse to cry out sometimes, please let me in. Please let me go to my family and let them know I'm still okay. So if people are wondering if their family members are still on the other side, or if they have decided to move on to another plane, we would honor that vision of love. They do create from multi-universe or it's like multiverse or multi-planes. It's a vibration. Most will stay within the vibration that feels good to them, and that tends to be the fifth dimension. Most people don't want to travel the dimensions, and we want to honor that vision. Most people don't want to imbibe upon the vision of more than one or two. I-6 is his vision. There's 6 visions watching her heart right now. So we want to honor your visions of love for the afterlife and that vision of those realms of love, those realms of peace, those realms, the realms of prosperity for all of us here. We're going to start to imbibe upon the vision of creating those visions of love for all of us here, even as we create with our loved ones on the other side. So had I been more in tune with the vision of love from my family members, I would say, let them guide us, right? So some people have heard my vision of, why are we letting our loved ones do all the creating for us? Why don't we, it's like invoke our own souls. They are aspects of ourselves that come to us. These are soul building exercises, people. So in essence, as I join you and you join me, we create the vision of love for one another in our hearts. Whether or not you agree with me or not, we are of soul. So we create the beauty of it. We create the heavenly realms. We create the masters of those guides, those masters that want to come through, right? So people are hoping to hear from some masters at one point. Does she bring through that vision of Christ or of soul, right? Who's the soul, right? Who's her soul? We are more than who we are here. That's the vision of it. And it's who I am, but it's also from various levels of understanding. Now, if you were in the managers of the world are saying she's going for it, right? Who's the higher divisional soul? Trump or Biden? This is her social justice lawyer coming through, right? No, it's just a vision of future. Who's going to unite the majority of the people on this planet? Do we want to go down that route? Most people say, I don't want to know. It's neither one. In essence, this is a global transition we're going through. The pandemic is global, right? So is our vision of love for each other. Now, when I tell you that my own vision is that, well, the world leaders have a lot to say about Trump. And we already brought through that vision of Kennedy, and his expression was very dignified. However, he's very much in support of the Biden clan, and that would be normal if we were assuming that he was still identified as a Democrat. His vision is very much neutral. So there is no guide from another realm that would throw their hat into the ring, right? And say, let me in. We're going to have another soul come into the vision of Republican very soon. He's going to be strong, talented, guided by God, and very much unique in his expression of light. He claims to know the deal with Brenda. There's someone there who says, I have... So this is, okay, this could be one of those visions that someone is writing down. What did I want as a child or as an adult that I felt that I could do a better job? How many people are thinking, I could be a better leader or I could be a better guide? Okay, that's true. There's many beautiful souls who are guiding a lot of people at this point in time. And there's a reason for it. They're still in that vision of love for all as one versus I'm going to caretake the few that I own, right? That's some people. They say they own people. That's a soul session. Someone's saying, I own that vision. They're taking ownership of that vision of, I'm a better guide. That's beautiful. I honor your vision and I honor your success. That's the nature of most. However, what I do as a guide is I tell you when you reach that level of success that you are deeming to be somehow less than what you want right now, right? You're thinking, I want more success. How do I raise those vibrations of those souls around me to feel the vision of love that is all around them all the time? They just don't reach for it. This is not about caring for all souls. Okay, this is not one of those sessions where we just all sit around and say, I love you to everybody. It is part of it. Okay, but what happens is that you start to feel that vision of love, admiration for the souls of others around you, for the work that they do. When they show you their strengths, you say, thank you for showing me that beauty, because that's a beautiful strength, right? Why am I jealous of certain people? This is a question that I got told to me, and I was thinking, am I jealous of certain people? Sometimes I might be. Other times I was definitely not jealous of most people, but that's just me. That's my ego talking. I love you all. Seriously, I've done my shit. So that's why I'm pretty damn good with who I am. I do honor the visions of those who are more successful. And I bless my soul with that. I am dealing with so many people who can laugh and say, yeah, what the hell? I've got all of this stuff going on in my life, and I just want to go have a party, right? How many people are saying Brenda doesn't know how to throw a party for her children? I'm literally doing the best I can, and it hurts my heart that I can't create a bigger gathering for my family because of the nature of the pandemic. My family members of certain age or of certain health conditions are not in the position to be able to come and visit my family. Okay? So when I say I take all of you very seriously in your admiration for all of us, we're all to be honored for being here, to be honest. Seriously, you all have your own visions of strength, of honor, of health, right? How many people are wondering, why am I not one of those few who are dying? It's not few, but it's many who are getting sick. Many who are envisioning that role of, I'm going to be one of the COVID survivors. Okay, because that's how people are going to be thought of in many ways. I could bring through those souls that could talk to you about that vision and why they went the way that they did. We choose to, it's like choose to lose. We choose our paths at various points. Some people will assume that everyone that has died has made the choice to die. And in essence, there is that vision of it. But most were not aware of it in the moment. That's the nature of it. So if you're surprised when you get sick because you thought, oh, I'm in that mindset of I will never get sick again, that's another vision for Brenda. She literally has her heart with souls who come in and heal her in the moment. She could talk to you about that vision of, I'm now getting my throat cleared out, my nasal decongestant, it's all gone. I don't envision health in the same way anymore, but I still have my own issues. I'm not perfect yet. This is not about telling you guys that you're less than because you're not at that point yet. I don't need you to be there at that moment. It would be a very fascinating field for some people, right? Why do I have to worry about my health? Why can't I just be happy with my body the way that I am? You can. You embody your soul, you have a greater chance than just about anybody else to make it to whatever age you've did. Well, you and your soul may determine two different things. You're working with your souls. Had I made a different choice, I could have put myself on a different path, right? But now that I'm embodied as my soul, I can envision a beautiful future for you and your loved ones. That's the nature of George Jefferson. How many people watch the Jeffersons and are saying, oh my gosh, that man is here? Sherman Hemsley? What's his name? He's a good one. We knew she wasn't going to be able to bring through that name. Literally a fucked up man who said, I was the one that made it okay to ride the race card. Because he said that's what people are doing right now. They're riding the race card. They're not bait. Okay, people are gonna say, oh, this is about baiting somebody into some kind of healing session. Okay? This is a channel. Oh my gosh, I love that show. That's Brenda's heart. I loved him. I absolutely adored him. He made me laugh. He was visited by her soul as a child. So his nature is, I enjoy making people laugh. He was being honest when he said people are riding the race card. What does that mean? So we always say to people, oh, they're playing the race card. What does that mean? It means, oh, I'm using that to somehow get something that I don't deserve, right? How many people want to go down that path with him? He's saying, I lost out on that vision of race. When I realized, even in that industry, my vision was ignored by many. I had to fight my way to the nature channel, because he says that's where a lot of people should be watching the vision of what race is. He says it's a do or die situation for us. I had to write my congressman 5 times a week sometimes to get my vision heard. That's his soul. Write your congressman 5 times a week, and then you might be able to open up to the nature of what we have to deal with on this vision of Channel for the Soul. How many people know the vision of writing their congressman at all? Much less, I'm just going to play a tape, right? He says, play a tape. We had tapes that we had to use to make those visions come to life. Now it's instantaneous. His vision is strong. He wants to know the game of life. He says, she keeps here. This is the nature of it. You write it. You let it out and you say, this vision of this man is so strong. He wants to come through and say, I was just as important as Martin Luther King Jr. I had my own issues. I had my own guides. I was not honored for who I was in the moment, but I will be at some point, because when I come back, if I choose to, in a series, he says, I came back in another series, and he's like, that series didn't make it. And you know why? He says it was religious in its interpretation, but in essence, he's saying, I honor those who are of service to this great God that we are embodying. The nature of our souls comes through strong, doesn't it? I could preach the words of God. However, in my vision of it, I would be talking to you one-on-one. That's his soul. I need to be told that I am loved. Most people who are in the vision of I need love from another soul outside of who I am have that vision of my vision of love is going to come through for me strong and silent. That's his vision. I was strong and silent. I didn't speak my mind outwardly, but I did my job behind the scenes. Now, in essence, his vision is, we have so many people out there yelling and screaming, and this is going to be a little controversial because that's his vision. I wanted to just say, let's get active, people. We can move mountains now with what we've got access to. And for those of you that say, I don't want to talk about it, well, we're going to say baloney, because he's a very pious man in his creation. He's pious. He's still in that honoring of soul and Lord. Do you believe me now? I know my shit. Now, he doesn't honor that vision because he says he knows she has to come across that way. In essence, his vision is he's light wing. He says, no, I'm with her. Because at some point you get over that vision of we've got to be, very, considerate or kind to people who are saying, I don't want to sit there and always be thinking about, the political arena in this vision of channeling. It's not all political, but it's got some basis for it because we're in that vision of it. About why we're in this vision of pandemic. It's not just about disease. That's created for us, right? Many will disagree with the vision of love that I carry on. Some people are going to say, oh, you're going to carry it through, aren't you? You're going to bring through that vision of we create the vision of disease. We absolutely have some control over the vision of our light. That's the vision of love. Now, most people will say light and love are two separate things. They are variances of the same vibration, believe it or not. Now, in essence, all vibrations have that essence of love behind them. I could bring you 10 or 12 of them right now. Now, what does that mean? Those are the ones that I vibrate with. I have them in my heart. I've united with my soul in that many dimensions, that many vibrations. Now, does someone say, oh, wait, is she bringing through visions of her or of someone else's vision? We're creating this all together, honey. That's the nature of it. Okay? We create the beauty of love when we come through this way. Some people might say, oh my gosh, I don't even know who she's talking about. If you're of a younger generation, you need to ask your family if they remember who the Jeffersons were on TV, and they will most likely say, oh yeah, I do. Now, in essence, it was a very strong family unit brought through saying, I am so digging this woman's vision of love. Because in essence, my own heart doesn't always go out and demonstrate. I could. Oh man. I'm not the demonstrate necessarily type of person. I know how to get shit done though. I go behind the scenes and I figure the shit out. Now, in essence, that's me. I'm one of those, let me, spread the word and get everyone to go and do what they need to do. That's actually going to make the changes. Now, I understand the vision of love for the demonstrations. I believe in them. I don't like the writing. That's me personally. Hello. But they are very much in the we have to do what we got to do. Some of those light workers up there are definitely on board with the we're going to take it to the next level of what that vibration of right is. And others aren't going to like it. It's just one of those visions. Now, those who are with, what is his name? Sherwin. It's not. She cannot bring that name through. Heart to heart. Some people will not believe the vision of a channel if they cannot bring through a vision of a name. And it's because in essence, she's identified with his soul so much as a child. And she's literally seen the visions go across the screen of who he was. Because that's how much she watched the show. And she's like, sometimes those things just leave her. We're not going to go into the deep trance. Now, in essence, she could go hard and high with the trance channel. What does that do? And now we can talk business. This is not about her business. This is not about his. This is about the nature of love for those souls who are playing the race card, right? I would say to that vision, it is one of those luxuries that very few people actually do unless they absolutely need to. Because in essence, it has been deemed so inappropriate for the majority of people to talk about the nature of when and where I play the race card. He said, you don't want to play that race card because it gets thrown back in your face so much that you don't want to get to that point where it kind of gets the negative reactions back to you. Now, in essence, most people are going to say, well, why is Brenda bringing that through? I did not choose that. I had the title Sharing is Caring. We're sharing all right. And that's the vision. Why are we in this vision that we have to be all separate, right? Or we can't share the wealth. This is the true love of our souls, right? Uh-oh. No, we're not going to talk political agendas or, he doesn't want to be a part of that vision either because he says, I'm in alignment with the vision of the United States as a loving, caring, heart. He's like the harp person would be honored for her vision of love for all souls. So in essence, his vision is, there are certain people in my own vision who are very much more open to the nature of caretaking other souls. And he's like, she's in that vision of the justice warrior. She's embodied that vision of it, right? I go out and I make noise. That's what a lot of people do. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm unwinding the actual business of race. That's the nature of what I do. And when I say I'm unwinding it, I'm bringing through those visions of love from those who were in essence part of the struggle from past, but still have that vision of I'm still creating with those here. I still honor those visions of our loved ones who are here trying to make a difference in the visions of life for all souls, not just for those of privilege. That's my friend. And for me, I was in that mindset of, well, we worked hard for what we got. Not that others aren't working hard, but that's where my mindset was. But in essence, my own vision is still very much of a, I'm okay with high taxes. That's my, I'm okay with that. That's her heart. But in essence, we're not going to talk about her personal agendas either, okay? Night and day from 10 years ago. That's where she is. Let's talk nitty gritty. Do you want to know where she was 10 years ago? I couldn't tell you shit because I was so fucking tired. So that's just the way of the younger kids and the mothers with the children. Think about if you had no support system, okay, and you're a mother, and you're working 2 jobs, and your spouse is no longer with you. I honor the vision of those mothers who are struggling with their children. And in his vision, he's saying she's very much awake to the nature of where people have to work their asses off just to make a living. And even then, it's not enough. So in essence, this isn't trying to take away any of the vision of his, but it is to honor his vision of, I just wanted to see if everyone could come through and say, yeah, I need to be more active in my vision of love for those who don't have the... So in essence, people are going to start taking this as a, oh, if we just think all alike, we're going to create this beautiful thing called church. And he's saying, she's the one I want because she's very much of the, I honor your souls for their prayers and their love and their devotion to their belief sets. What I have a struggle with is nothing that is needed to be talked about now. It is not for most. Because most people didn't have to go through what I went through related to that vision of heaven and hell based on other people's projections onto me. And what I created because of it, which was tragedy for a lot of people. I did not create the tragedy of a train wreck, by the way. That is me as a guide tapping into the universal souls of love who then bring me that vision of fortune, right? That's me. I'm fortunate. I created that vision. You know why? I expect to have fortune come my way. I usually get what I want. That's the nature of my life. That's the nature of my mind. And I work my ass off to keep myself in that vision of love for all souls. I honor your hearts, whether you agree with my vision or not. I will always... So some people say you're going to always dishonor those of the faith. It can't be helped. If you had to deal with the vision of people lobbing hateful words in your mind, okay, some people say, well, that's a mental health issue. I was dealing with souls, and I was dealing with the shamans of the world that are very much of the vibration of low and high, right? Usually it is well, we're not going to say. I just had my own experience. I'm not denying the beauty of that vision, by the way. It taught me a lot about my own visions of what was going on. Now, how many people say, I don't want to go through what she did? That's why I'm here, to say that you don't need to go through that vision. Don't create a vision of hell for yourself, right? And some people say, well, I don't. I know I'm pretty good. And that's the nature. The majority of the people here have nothing to worry about. They will create from various visions on the other side, most likely 5 or 6, because you guys are already starting to imbibe upon the views of love. Once you get to that natural ability to tap into, I love a lot of people who aren't like me, you're halfway there in the 5th dimension or the heavenly realms. Okay, because those are all kind of in that same vein of thought. I'm going to go to this vibration that is higher than where I'm at now. I'm going to imbibe upon the beauty of who I am. I'm going to create a space of rest where I can vibrate in that beauty of light, because it's a light feeling there. It is gorgeous. You don't want to leave the light, right? There's love aplenty in that vibration. And I am going to honor your souls by saying I have met several there, and they absolutely do vibrate and radiate love in a way that most can't even imagine. Now, in essence, the universal aspect of who I am is very much of unique, because I don't give in to the temptation to just channel for 10 or 12 souls. I sometimes go outside of the vision of love to a place of condemnation. That's where people were taking me. Okay, so this is going to explain some of those values to you. I had to hear about the condemnation of certain people based on their visions of what was right or wrong for me or for my family. And I said, fuck that, because I'm not going down that path. Literally, people will condemn me or my family based on our association with some kind of evil or whatnot, depending on what is brought through. Yeah, let's go for it, right? No, you guys just don't have that vision of condemnation in your hearts. That's the nature of it. I don't condemn anyone to anything less than beauty, right? I don't condemn. That's a natural affinity. Some people use those words a lot. They're the preachers of the world a lot of times, right? Not always, but they do. And that's that nature of that. I'm condemning you to this and that and whatnot. And that's God, right? I'm not that kind of soul. I don't buy into that vision of I've got to be less than anybody else. Ever. I know I rise above in various forms. I hear my visions coming to me faster and faster sometimes. And sometimes they are literally coming at me incredibly fast, and I have to put on the brakes and go, slow down and let me hear the vision of love. Because sometimes they aren't that loving, because I'm creating that vision of distortion within the vortex. We're in a vortex, people. Oh yeah, we've got that souls, the gorgeous souls, right? Creating from the vortex. My vision goes outside of space and time for the most part. I don't have to vibrate within the vision of 3D or 4D. I outwardly bring in my visions of love, right? That's the nature of a good soul that knows how to do the damn great work. So to create within the vortex or outside of it, it depends on what that means for someone. How many people here know what the vortex actually is? It's a creative space of fantasy for many. They would see, oh, this is like fantasy world. Oh, but it's not. You start to feel it in your heart. That's the nature of soul connection sometimes. It can be otherworldly for some people if they want to go to that place of love for those souls outside of the vision of heaven. And you create that beauty of guidance. I know how to guide you to the place of love wherever you guys want to go. But the majority of people in this world are still here, right? I just want to know what to do here. But we're creating from other places, and that's what we're bringing to us. So that's why we have to envision that beauty of how do I expand my awareness to those other areas of my hearts where they come to me and say, let's create a beautiful vision of love for the soul of love. Because in essence, she always hears about that. Oh, we're going to the soul of love. And that's the nature. You could call the soul of love whatever you want. It's a being of love and light, right? Some are going to assume it's one soul. It is a value system that is spread across the dimensions for the most part. And we would honor that vision for the majority of the souls here in this plane, because that's where most people reside in their mindsets. Most people know, oh, I'm going to go to this other place and I'm going to reunite with my loved ones and we're going to be happy and live, this peaceful existence. However, in essence, you can bring that vision to you here. And that's the nature of it. How do I bring that vision of peace and love to my heart in the moment? How do I say thank you for your good jobs? Okay, so in essence, I'm going to say good job to those who are starting to imbibe upon the vision of I can start bringing through those talents of my own. This isn't going to always be the nature of bringing in a celebrity of, well, it could be notoriety, but we're not going to do that. Most people don't want to go down that path. And it's not always a political agenda, but in essence, there is that vision because we are going through that vision of love where we say, how do we get out of pandemic? We already know we have to break the energy. Most people don't want to know what that is. Because it means I have to take responsibility for my own vision of it. Do I pretend that it doesn't exist? If I pretend that it doesn't exist, do I indeed avoid it? No, not necessarily. You will indeed invite that vision of, let me awaken the devil, right? People are going to say, oh, that's the devil's work. I am not the devil. Nor do I associate with any souls that create with that vision of devil. That's just about the best damn thing ever. I never have. In essence, in my heart, I knew my boundaries, right? Well, I had to create with people that did believe in that. And that's okay. I get it. It's not a condemnation of anybody's belief systems, by the way. So if you believe that your own vision of health is the strength behind you, then by all means, please keep that vision. That's a strong one to hold on to, and we honor that vision. You have 5 or 6 people who say, I'm going to be healthy. I can tell. I can tell I'm going to be healthy because I feel it in my body. I feel it in my soul. I feel it in my system. That's the system that we ride on. Okay? How many people say, I wish I had that same health care plan that you did? Okay? This is the nature of where we would go with our honored guest. Because in essence, he's like, we didn't have shit. He he's honoring of her heart. He says she's a go-getter. She'll take it where it needs to go. Okay, people don't get it. Yeah, I'm comfortable where I'm at. Do I fight for those who don't have the same access as I do? That's what's being called on for me in some cases. So when you see those social impulse videos, those might have some of it in there. You go to societal impact, it's going to blow your mind with how deep we'll go to unravel the victim mindset, not only of those who are actually experiencing that vision, because they are indeed in that vision of I don't have, or I am being, held back in some way, shape, or form. But those of us who actually feel like we're victims of something because someone else wants something that we have, and we don't want to help them achieve that same vision. How do we help others achieve the same vision? That's a beautiful guide, right? We wish people had their own visions of love. How do we envision the beauty of Jesus providing for us, right? How many people are on that vision of, oh shit, here she goes. I'm not here to condemn or to it's like contradict the vision of Jesus or Christ or anybody else. But what I'm here to say is that those who know me know that if I come through in the vision of Christ, he's going to say some words that might not sound so great to those who are holding others down with their words about poverty and what it takes for those to lift people out of it. I don't have those bootstraps, people. So that vision of everyone just needs to lift themselves up by the bootstraps, I don't have no fucking bootstraps to lift. That's the majority of the people in the poverty level. They have access to healthcare. Bullshit. People need to get educated about what people actually have and don't have. And I'm going to deny that vision. It's not from his soul. Right? People say that couldn't be Christ. It's Christ. Christ is a collective of guides. I'm not going to lie. Now, in essence, we all are part of that vision of Christ. Okay? So that's the nature of it. You can express your vision of love as a lawyer and say, yeah, the lawyers of the world know how hard it is for those souls who are of color to find an attorney that's actually going to fight for them, right? Everyone has these misgivings or this misdeeds. Some people have a chance to make it big. I can't take it to the Christ level understanding because it's very much of the I am of love and I love all souls. So why would I not want all souls to be just as benefiting of the beauty of this country as my own? Where are we in that vision of Christ where we say, you all just have to go and do better? I'm not saying anyone on here is like that. This is going to be one of those visions of, spread out across the internet. Now, in essence, I also want to honor those visions of loved ones here. And I want to say, I honor your vision. Most people are thinking, I'm going to get somebody to come through for me, or maybe my information might come through to say, I love you. I just wish you wouldn't talk so fast. Some people don't like that I talk fast. That was a grandmother I was speaking to before I came on. And she says hi to Jamie and her family. And she says, I was the Italian stallion's best friend. Okay? So She is not Rocky, but she says that in jest. Because in essence, she's saying, I was the fast talker of the family and I loved it. And I still have my vision of faith squarely in my heart and my mind. And I will not deny my vision for my family. So no fretting over my existence as a hellraiser. She says I was no hellraiser, but she's like, I would if I needed to at certain points. And she says, this is where I'm going to tell my daughter, because in essence, her daughter is wanting to be acknowledged. Her mother is on the line. And she would say, that's the mothering instinct, is to say, I'm going to fight for my daughter. Her daughter had to deal with some stuff that was very strong, very hard. And she says she was the fighter. And my other daughter is just as strong, but just as is diseased. So she's more worried about the disease for one of her daughters than the other. And in essence, this is not about a foretelling, but she does have that vision of concern for her father as well. She says, the father was there. And she says, I had to deal with my father when I came over to the other side. And she says that was a beautiful expression because he was kind of a mean man on certain occasions, but he did, kind of straighten us up. He was alone for the majority of his life. That was someone else's vision. There's too many people who have the vision of family trees, but there's another father energy that wants to come through. Jamie, it's your father who would say it is a grand entrance for her. And had she been on the line in the moment, she would have probably started to cry. So he's saying, I'm taking this instant to say that the beauty of God is still within our minds and our hearts. We don't need to take on the vision of change or hope. He's saying hope and change. He says, I honor your vision now. I get it. You have that vision of it for you and your family. Don't let it go. You are always in the hearts and minds of all family members and acquaintances and friends who hold you in the hearts. He says he's loving as much as he always was, but now he even understands more about his own vision for his family and what it did and didn't do for them. So you see, he can kind of sort of let go of that vision of love when it was serving his needs. He says, it served my needs well to be of love for the family. He knows the vision is of hearts. And he says, the family tree does indeed serve us well for a while. And then at some point, you kind of want to open up to the nature of your loved ones from other sorts of visions. So in his mind, he said, I wasn't so practical in my application about the religious stuff. I didn't imbibe on it like your mother did. And he says, but I get it. And it's a beautiful vision. He said, we will still see each other on the other side. There's no vision of not seeing each other. You don't have to worry about that vision. And he's also very condemning of her as a soul. He says she brings out a lot of anger in certain people because in essence she was the stroke of genius. Because he says that's what happens sometimes is people need to get angry before they start to realize why they're angry. Why am I angry at Brenda for bringing through guidance about race or religion or God or hell or damnation? He says, don't worry about it. We've got it covered. There's no such thing where we're going. We don't need to worry about that vision of creating a place where we have to then experience it. because in essence he's saying our love has been like brought to a level where I don't have to visit that place that others thought they were going to go to. He wasn't there with Sean, but he said, I was there in my mind thinking the same thing that so many people in the family were worried about. And he said, thank God this woman was there to greet him. Because in essence, she brought his vision to the anchoring of a higher dimension. She anchors him so high with her heart that he can't get out of that vision of, I don't need to ever release my soul to a plane of less than anybody else. And that's his vision. I'm just as good as her. That's his vision. I'm just as good as her. And that's what she honors for him. She says, go for it. So your own father is very egotistical in his mind in some ways. And he's bringing that through as if he knows it's going to make sense to you about that vision of, I'm better than her. But he says, no, she's just as. So he's not in that mindset of, I am better than. But he still feels that vision of, yeah, I'm lightening my load more than you are. That's Brenda. Brenda is visually extending the gratitude to his soul for coming through for you. But it's her own soul bringing through that vision. I'm not embodying his soul. You don't need to worry about it. His body, by the way, was very unique. He says, I was a good-looking man. And he says, I was a good-looking man. I want to be acknowledged as a good-looking man. And in his mindset, he's like, I still create from that vision of, hey, I was pretty good-looking. Other people in the mindset are still of that, I'm not the best loved one or lover or whatever. She's dealing with some weird shit. But he's getting personal with the family tree, and he says, don't worry, our family tree's not going to invade your privacy. We don't come and visit in the way that you would be worried about had your daughter been, contacting all this, you would be thinking, okay, we're going to all have our family tree members looking down upon us in our bedrooms and whatnot. It doesn't work that way. What happens is we open up to the nature of love, and then we imbibe upon the spiritual realms. That's usually what happens. For those children who imbibe upon it as a guidance system when they were younger, you're still already connected. You never leave the connection with your heart or your soul, and you are deemed high enough in your vibration to bring through those visions of love from other dimensions. And that's why you create the vision of, I'm experiencing those beautiful visions of loved ones, because in essence you have the vibration of it. So you're of that higher dimension if you're already accessing those visions of, I can hear or see or touch a loved one from the other side. Now, some people are going to be like, what do you mean touch? It's the energy that you'll often feel. So some people say, I feel the energy of others. We are all unique in our ability to come within or outside or around the aura of any soul. Brenda's is very large, so she feels people from far away sometimes. I'm not kidding you. She can create the vision of love from a distance. That's how fast it goes for her. I know how to heal you from a distance, because I reach out in my vision and I touch your own heart and your soul comes through for you. But I can do the direct energy healing if I need to. How many people want to know what that feels like? It will become more and more apparent as we continue on this journey of channeling and guidance for the soul and embodiment of our own souls, that at some point you start to wonder, where else do we go? Are we getting more visions of loved ones coming through? Can I hear from my dad? Can I hear from my loved ones? My dad would always say, don't ever give up, because your best day ever is on the way. Hallelujah. I get to have a great day tomorrow. I am broke in my mindset sometimes with my family tree, right? I am broken. I had people who were saying to me, you are broken in your heart. I am guided by my own soul to a place of love eternal. How in the world can people think that I would be doing anything other than trying to bring about beautiful guidance of love for all? I cannot understand the vision of hate in the majority of the cases in this world. I get it, but it's not exactly making a lot of sense. I hate you, I love you. I hear a lot of I love you, I hate you. Okay? So this would be an instant, dictator kind of thing. So some people say, well, when you come across as arrogant, I'm not going to really identify with that. However, had you gone through that vision of war in the mindset that I went through, you would honor me and beg me to please make sure that no one else has to go through that experience. That's the nature of my light. I make sure people don't have to go through what I had to go through. It was that bad. It was amazing that I made it through that vision. And that's why I'm being honored with the majority of the visits that I get from the loved ones that I don't even know. It's because they know that I basically am doing this for everybody. Literally everybody in this society. And I say the globe, but it is beyond that. I honor all souls and I bring through the vision for their visions of love. I don't bring through the hatred from the majority of souls. There are still some souls that will hold on to some of those visions of hate for a little while until they get it off of them. They have to let go of that anger, or they decide to create with it still because it might serve their agendas. So other souls do have agendas, but the majority of us on this vision of love will say, I don't want to create with anyone who's still hanging on to their anger. It can happen. It's not unknown. There are majorities of places where some people go where they do have that vision of hell. I had to create a vision of hell with my own dad based on a work that I listened to that made no sense to me because of the timing of what was going on with me and what was told to me, and it killed me in my mind, literally. That's the phoenix rising. I broke free from the mindset of religious condemnation, societal condemnation, spiritual condemnation, and the origin of the species. I can bring through Darwin if I need to talk about his vision of love. So when someone says that it's a medium, it's not. I'm talking to this soul of the souls that come through. That's why I know where I'm at now and in future. And I go back and I honor the vision that I had of future coming to me. But the majority of the time, I'm still here with you people, loving you, caring for you, honoring your visions, loving your visions for you. I just can't partake in that particular vision where I honor anybody else going through what I did as somehow I'm less than. I will never bow to anybody, ever, because they did not honor me by trying to get me to lower my vision to someone else's. I understand it's a respectful thing, and I love the prayers that people send, but honestly, for the majority of the time, I'm good. I rarely have any issues with any souls or my own soul at this point in time, to be honest. Rarely. It is once in a while I will still get my butt kicked because of a choice that I made, and I have to sit there and deal with the consequences, or it's not the consequence, it's the effects of what I've chosen and how it plays out on various levels of, enlightenment. Most people don't want to know that I have to still hear from people that I don't necessarily want to. It's not them, it's their visions that get brought to me. And that lets me know where they are. And so I say, okay. Now I laugh because I am seriously in that place where I go, okay. People need to feel good about themselves. And there are many that feel that they have to put other people down in order to do that. Please don't do that to people. And if I seem arrogant to people, I'm trying to be as humble as I can, but you have to understand that's the strength of my heart. I'm not going to apologize for being strong or for being confident. I'm tired of the men of the world being able to come through very strong, and they're seen as strong. And yet, for me, I come through as strong, and then I get labeled as something different because it's hard for certain people to get over the idea that they might not have the right ideas going forward in this world. Okay, because I'm here to break that spell of love, right? No, it's all love. So I honor that vision even if you hold it for me. I don't want to create that with people, but I'm not going to sit there and beg for mercy either. That's what some people will say. Oh, she's going to beg for mercy on the other side. Oh, no, I already travel where I need to travel. Thank you very much. I don't beg. I don't need to. I am guiding all souls to a place of love for all. Whether or not you can handle that vision, it's okay. We don't have to like them all. We don't have to like everybody. So I get it that you don't like me. Some people don't like me. Okay? What I have to be careful of, and in dealing with people, people are going to know, my visions are very high. They're high in that vision. Some people say these are too out there, or they might be too controversial sometimes. I'm not going to lead you astray. Let me put it to you again. I'm not going to lead you astray. If you feel like there's something not quite right with who I am, please disregard my messages and be on your way. If you feel like, oh, I'm a little curious and I'm just a little not sure, or I don't want to disregard my own love from my own family and friends and my heart, you don't have to. You can be who you are. Your own soul will come through and say, don't ever leave your best friends behind, right? I get told that sometimes. I've had to leave people behind. But it's only because it was creating such chaos in both of our hearts and minds, literally, that I said, I can't do this vision anymore. So now I'm going to wrap this up. I know we're a little bit over. And I want to say thank you to all the souls who are partaking of this vision, either now or in the future, right? In whatever time period we may find ourselves. And I want to say I love all of you. Thank you for watching. Have a great evening if you're with me right now. And take on the beauty of the race card. Take it and run with it. That's my guide soul to me. Okay? So anyways, love yourselves. Laugh a lot. As much as possible. Remember to bring your... Well, we're going to have a little bit of a hoedown with somebody. Man, someone's going to go strong with some fun times out there. Enjoy your light. Take care.